can't believe that he didn't raise his hand. You don't eat. You've never eaten before. Okay, well, I figured most of you would raise your hand. But that would be very disturbing. Well, I want to talk about today things not to eat. But the thing that you should know is what eating right will help. It will lower risk of heart disease, heart attack, and high blood pressure by 30%. Oh, by the way, all my facts are from this book called The Supermarket Survival Guide. Eat this, not that. It's very helpful. You might be asking, well, how do I know about how much fat or sugar is good for me? What about calories? Well, I'm going to tell you that right now. Proper calorie count per day is really up to you, or it's about how tall you are. Say a 4'5" girl. She's not going to eat as many calories as a 6'5" older guy. So that just depends on how old you are. But sugar amount, you should probably not go over 10 grams per serving that you eat, or that would be too much sugar and cause diabetes and a lot of other bad diseases. One thing is, you should always remember, don't count sugars or calories in things that you really need every day, such as milk, fruits, and veggies. You should never look at it and say, oh, I'm not going to have milk today because it has too many calories or too much sugar. You should just try to proportion it right. So limit yourself, such as bananas. Bananas have 45 grams of sugar for one banana. That's a lot of sugar. So you should probably split it in half or eat one every 3 days or so. Another really high sugar fruit is watermelon. It has 17 grams of sugar. So you shouldn't go having half a watermelon and a banana in one day. That would be too much sugar. Now onto salt. You shouldn't go over 140 milligrams because that would be too high. You could maybe stretch it to 150 or 165. But if you can get even lower than 140, that would be really good. Even 0 milligrams of salt is best. Fat. You should not go over 10 grams in fat. That is a lot of fat, and it will make you fat. That's why they call it fat. Now I'm going to tell you about the 5 worst food packages ever in history. Not in history, in America. Number 1, Pillsbury's macadamia nut cookies. I'm sure all of you like cookies or have had Pillsbury before. It has 180 calories, 10 grams of fat, 13 grams of sugar, and 2 grams of trans fat. Oh, and 3 grams of saturated fat. That's a lot of fat, and it's only for one cookie. I'm sure all of us don't have one cookie. We want 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or a dozen. I don't know how many cookies you eat, but that's a lot of fat and a lot of sugar. The second is Pop-Tarts, the cinnamon Pop-Tart. 400 calories, 14 grams of fat, 4 grams saturated fat, and 28 grams of sugar per serving. There's 7 different types of sugars in it. That's a lot of different types of sugar for only 2 Pop-Tarts. Third one, Toll House's ice cream cookie sandwich. For one sandwich, it has 520 calories, 23 grams of fat, 9 grams of saturated fat, and 44 grams of sugar. If you eat that in one day, you just feel like, why? It would just be terrible. You're better off letting that sandwich melt away. Fourth one, DiGiorno's frozen pizza. I'm sure some of you like pizza. I'm sure all of you like pizza. I like pizza. But this one pizza has 850 calories, 1,450 milligrams of salt, 44 grams of fat, a lot of fat, and 15 of that is saturated fat, 3.5 grams of trans fat. How bad can you get? It already has 44 grams of fat. They have to add saturated and trans fat. But it only gets worse. The last but not least, worst food in America, Marie Callender's chicken pot pie. 1,060 calories, 1,440 milligrams of salt, 64 grams of fat, 24 of that is saturated fat, and that's equal to 23 strips of greasy bacon. That is a terrible meal, and it is literally the worst supermarket meal in America ever. Now I want to talk about some better things that you should eat. I call it FAV, F-A-V, fruits and vegetables. That's the healthiest choice you can make, ever. But it's a certain kind of fruit that you have to choose. It's organic fruit. Why do we pick organic fruit? Is it worth the price? I say yes. Because if you think about all the pesticides that they put on non-organic fruit, it's going to make you not want to eat it. Just think of somebody coming up and you're holding an apple and they just pour Raid all over it. Are you going to eat it? I don't think so. Who likes peaches here? Anybody like peaches? Okay, I like peaches a lot. But I found out that peaches have the highest amount of pesticide of any fruit or vegetable. So if you don't eat it organic, talk about preservatives and bad ingredients that are in the foods all around us. Hydrogenated vegetable oil is a terrible preservative. It's a manufactured vat full of fatty acids, and it contributes to heart disease and kills your cells. This is permanent damage that nobody needs to eat and shouldn't eat. Another preservative is BHA. It's one of the most dangerous known to cause cancer. Another terrible ingredient is blue dye number 1 and 2. It also causes cancer. A bad sugar called high fructose corn syrup is another bad ingredient. In 1980, the obesity level shot up a lot thanks to high fructose corn syrup. It's a terrible fat that's found in breads and cereals and syrups and lots of other things that we should really try to avoid. Now that we've looked at lots of harmful foods and ingredients, I hope next time you think of eating a chicken pot pie or a Krispy Kreme, you remember what I spoke about today. Thank you.